Imagine your child going from a relaxed UK classroom to more than 15 subjects, strict punishments, and watching other children being flogged. That transition didn't just overwhelm my son, it nearly broke him. And to be honest, it shook me. If you're in the diaspora and you're thinking of bringing your children back home for schooling, then this video is for you. I wish there were things that someone sat me down and explained to me clearly, because what my son experienced was not just an adjustment, it was very overwhelming in ways that we did not expect. It really affected him, and also did affect me too. For those of you that are coming across this channel for the first time, I am Madam Chiomzi, and I relocated from the UK to Nigeria with my son, and he's schooling here, secondary school. He started in GS1 because he finished primary school in the UK, so it's GSS1 or Basic 7. That's what it is, the class is in. So this video is just to create an awareness for parents that are bringing their children back home. Please, if you've not subscribed to my channel, I'd like you to subscribe, like and share my videos. Also click on notification bell so that you receive notification anytime I upload a new video. So when we were planning to relocate, obviously you'll be looking for schools. We didn't want my son to go to boarding school here, for reasons I don't want to go into. But we searched for schools. This school was claimed to be one of the best in Anambra State here. So we applied for it. So he did his entrance exam, he passed. Looking back now, there was actually a red flag from the beginning. During the school's induction program, one of the teachers stood up and spoke about the school's codes of conduct for approximately an hour, and I'm not exaggerating, an hour, and they even have a booklet for it. Then I just took it as a normal procedure, but now I realized that that actually shows how heavily focused on discipline the school is. And discipline is important, yes, but when it becomes too rigid, it starts to feel very overwhelming for children. And I think that's what the school is failing to realize. It's not everything that's punishment. There's punishment for every single thing. You come late for school, punishment. I don't understand why a child should be punished, and that's my opinion, why a child should be punished for being late to school. I feel the right thing would be speaking to the parents of the child. So it was just the school was just too punishment focused. My son, started in Basic 7 or GSS1. And I know that even in the UK they do lots of subjects starting. That's number of subjects for a child that is just coming from primary school, where they just basically do numeracy, literacy. They don't do much. It's a lot, but it's more intense here because every subject has textbooks, workbook, and not just one textbook. Then they also have notebooks. So when you just imagine more than, okay, let's say just say 15 subjects, and you have some have more than one textbook, and each of these textbooks have workbooks, then you have notes. If just seeing it alone, when we went to collect the books, we're like, what are they studying? It's so much. Just that alone, seeing that alone is too much. So outside of that, the timing when they start school starts at 7:30 for my son, and they finish at 4:30. For us, that's too much. That's, for me, it's too much for a child at that age. That's a full day, and for a child trying to coming from the UK and trying to adjust into the system here, It was a lot for my son. It was really, really a lot for him. And even after school, they still had homework to do. They had homeworks for during their midterm breaks. They had homeworks. Any holiday, school holiday, they still give them homework, even daily homeworks. And that the daily one was, in fact, all their homework just pissed me off, to be honest, because I didn't understand it. And I want you guys to really understand what I'm trying to say. So, so let's say your child is starting school 7:30, and they have to wake up, let's say 5:30 or 6 o'clock. So they start their day that early, and they finish school at 4:30. So 7:30 to 4:30 is very long. Then after that, you go pick up your child. By the time you get home, let's say you stop by, let's say you want to go to supermarket, and you guys get home, let's say around 6. The next thing, you're trying to do dinner. You cook dinner. You're having dinner 7:30, 8. No time for your child to really like decompress and rest a bit. The next thing is homework. Sometimes he's even trying to do homework when it's time for him going to bed. And you have to look at it as in, when does that child really relax and, you know, decompress, then go to bed. You go to bed, you're going, basically what was happening, that my son was going to bed late and having to wake up early again to go to school. It was just too much. So there was no real break. And I started asking myself, so when does this child actually rest? It's as if the system in the school was just, your life is just academics. And I know it's important, but that's not just, the total well-being of the child is not being considered. That's my opinion. It's not being considered. You know, before, when we come on holiday and I see kids carrying trolleys to school, instead of normal school bag, you think, I used to laugh. I wonder why are they taking trolleys to school. It was when my son started and I got it. The amount of books, they cannot even carry it. They're going to have spinal cord injury. And bear in mind that it's not, they don't do every subject every day. So even the few they do in a day, they can't even carry that book, those books in a school bag and carry it on them. They're going to have injury. So it's just too much. It was just too much. We considered using, you know, the school bus, doing school bus, pick up the child, drop the child, and I was asking one of the drivers, so how early? So the guy was saying that the first child gets picked up at 5:30. I was like, eh? So just imagine, when would that child wake up? In fact, we had a parent that I remember her telling me the son, they also paid for the school bus, but the son could not cope, because that meant the child waking up, I think, 4:30 every day to prepare for the school bus. And I also asked I remember asking the driver, so those in boarding school, when do they wake up? And he was like 4:30. They wake up 4:30. I said, for what? I was asking the guy, why do they have to wake up at 4:30? Because I think that's too early for them to be up. And he was like, they have to wake up for prayers. I was like, prayer. Good morning, Jesus. Good morning, Lord. Jesus is still sleeping. Can the children sleep? So for me, it's just too much. It's just too much. So you have to bear in mind, if you're a parent, it's the only way I can explain. That's the way I see it. Every parent is different. For me, I don't think that's healthy. You want the school to be serious, but not. If the children are not resting, what's the purpose? I don't see a child. My son, I remember my son would be like, Mommy, people sleep in class. They're going to sleep because they wouldn't get enough rest. The only way I can explain and describe the way the system is like boot camp or military. That's just the way I can explain the school. Everything is just rigid. You know, everything is just rigid. So you have to bear that in mind when you're, not all schools though, not all schools. So parents have to bear in mind that some routines are extremely intense for a child coming from places like the UK. I don't know about the US, but I think it's similar. So that's what you have to bear in mind. And if they grow up here, maybe it's okay, but you're trying to get them to, you're trying to do it, gradually, the adjusting or adapting gradually. It's not just throwing the person like into the deep end. They will drown, to be honest. Another thing parents also need to be aware of is that there's some things here that are not considered as abuse that your child would find very, very distressing if they witness it. For instance, my son seeing people being flogged was very distressing for him. It was not done to him because I had already asked that question when we did the interview with the guardian counselor. I asked that question, and I did say to her, although she did say that they don't flog in the school, but they do, because my son has witnessed it. But I said to her that I asked her, and she said no. So obviously it was clear, and I made it clear that I don't want my child to be flogged in any way. So just bear in mind that even if it's not done to your child will find that witnessing that very distressing. Even some other punishments he might find very distressing, even if it's not just flogging the child. There was this particular boy in my son's class. My son would always talk about how the boy was being treated, and I remember him talking about the boy being punished. It was really affecting my son. He kept talking about the boy, and it started affecting me too, because I started feeling for the guy. And to be honest with you, to the point I was saying to my son to find out from the guy if the parents were in Nigeria. And I wanted my son to find a way to get the mom's number so I could speak to the mom myself. So another thing that did happen in the school was they published the school their results. I didn't just understand it. I just could not understand it. One day I went to pick my son from school, and he's telling me, "Mommy, they published our result," and that led to a child too. This same person that my son has been talking about to me. It led to the boy being mocked. Kids can be mean, and I think that's what the school did not realize. Kids are not adults that would understand what to say, to what's appropriate and not every adult, and what's not appropriate to say. So the boy was being mocked, and that was a form of bullying. But to my surprise, the school didn't even see it as that. They felt it was motivating the children. So this is where you see the different mindsets. I don't see it as motivating a child. You cannot motivate someone by humiliating them. I felt that was totally wrong. My son did not understand it. He was not happy about it. So at what point I'm trying to say that even if it's not happening to your child, for someone like my child, even if it's not happening to him, if he's witnessing that, it would affect him. So he came. When I went to pick him, he spoke about it. I wasn't happy. That was the final straw for me. I went to the school WhatsApp group chat thing, and I brought up that issue. And to my greatest surprise, the response from the principal was defensive. But when I spoke to the director, he did understand. His response was better. But that was it for us, to be honest. At this point, my son was no longer happy about the school. He was sad, and that was during the Christmas holiday. That was the end of Christmas, and going back the new term, my son did not want to go back to school. He wanted to go back to the UK. Initially, I was like, okay, probably because of the Christmas period, his cousins were in Oka. They had come back home for the Christmas, and his cousins are like his age bracket. They play a lot, so it was either he's in his cousin's place or he's here. They're always together, they play, and it's always fun when they're together for him. So I just felt maybe because the Christmas was over and they had gone back to their where they stay, so he was going to like get over the whole thing and come back to usual, realizing holidays over. But first week my son kept complaining. Every night we have to go through, I'll try to make him understand. He's crying, he doesn't want to go to school. By I think the second week, that was it. I saw it was really affecting him emotionally. He was depressed. Even when I drop him at school, I watch him, he's not happy. Going to pick him up, he's not happy. I just could not ignore that because it was obvious that it was affecting him, his mental well-being. And that was when I decided that he has to change school. So this time what I did was that I looked for a smaller school. I didn't want no big school. My son came from a small school. They were not much in their class. I think they were just 12 in their class, or 11. So he came from a very small school, and I wanted something that was small. I didn't want anything that was too rigid. I don't want the mindset of everything was just one way, that's it. I wanted something that it's more of understanding the child one-to-one and understanding their needs one-to-one. So luckily, a friend of mine had recommended this school, so that I decided to go there. When I spoke with the director, I was happy with her response, and you could see that she's genuinely interested in children. That mindset, flexibility, it was what I was looking for. I didn't want anything that was too rigid. You must. I wanted somewhere that would consider the needs of my son. And I don't want it to look like, oh, you didn't push him. This is not the time for pushing. Let's first get to, there's a lot. Nigeria is very intense. I don't want that pushing. There's a time to push a child. I don't want the one you push my child. I'm not looking for a child that I brought to Nigeria for the system to break the child, So I spoke with the teacher. The director. Then also I spoke about the time. It's too long for him. The number of hours they spend in school is too long. So she said, okay, my son can finish at 3, start at 8, finish at 3. That was what we agreed to, and I was happy with it. Then I spoke to my son that for him to come and see the school and speak to the director. Immediately my son came there, spoke with her. My son was so happy meeting her. That's the director of the school. My son, children can pick up when you genuinely are interested in children, not pretending. My son was happy from speaking to her. Even there and then, my son was already calling his school. It was when they are screening for us to say my former school. Immediately we left there, my son was like, Mommy, that he's not going back to that school. And that was it. That was how we changed school for him. Here, he's very happy here. It's not a case of every day he's looking for an excuse not to go to school, or he's crying. So he's happy here. Everything is not about, I was looking for balance, and I think that's what we got here. I want my child to be happy and at the same time learning, not learning everything is by force. We don't want that. So I think that's what parents have to bear in mind. Another thing I want to say, that there's some languages that teachers use here that are that would be very, very abnormal for your child. Like my son was saying, their Igbo teacher, that's in the previous school, not this one, did say if they misbehave, they'll regret their life. A child that grew up here will not see how extreme that statement is, but for your child that's coming from somewhere like the UK or the US, they will see it as something else. My son was like, Mommy, what does she mean by that? Does it mean we're going to consider buying ourselves by the time she finishes with us, So your child is not going to see those things like normal, as in that's just the way people speak here. So you have to bear that in mind when you're bringing your child here. So if you're a parent in diaspora thinking of bringing back your children here and they will be schooling, these are the things I would strongly advise that you look at for. School start time and finish, number of subjects and academic workload, because in Nigeria they're very academic focused. Whether they understand, don't understand, do you just throw it in your head. In fact, that previous school, they copy notes. That's another thing, my son. They copy notes, and they mark the notes. Can you imagine marking your notes? And if a child is, let's say your child is not well and does not come to school, it's like they're being punished for being absent because they have to go and be copying. If it's like 5 days, go and copy 5 days notes. It's just too much. So you have to also look at discipline, style, and approach. Discipline is good, but when everything is discipline, it makes children they just see it as you're being wicked, or loses the purpose, if you get me. The emotional environment, whether the school is flexible, how flexible they are, how they handle results and performance. Visit the school if it's possible, and let your child also visit the school to see how it is. You'll not get the whole picture when you visit anyway. Just for the child for you to see things yourself if it's possible, because not every school is suited for every child. Know your child, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Relocating with children is not just about location, but about environment, structure, and the emotional well-being, because at the end of the day, you don't just want your child to just cope, but to thrive. So if you're going through something similar, I would like to hear about your experience in the comment section. So that'll be it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening. Hope you've got something from this video. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please do consider subscribing. Thank you guys so much. Like, share, and click on the notification bell so you receive notification anytime I upload a new video. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. I'll see you next time. Bye.